And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. A couple of days ago we reacted to the news that of course a UK primary school was going to be banning an Easter service and weren't going to be doing anything special for Easter. In that video of course we discussed the outrage amongst Britons of course and quite frankly that this decision was a disgrace. A country built on Christian values and traditions just been taken away, whilst we now have Ramadan and all of these other religious ceremonies shoved down our throat. Now in today's video we are going to be reacting to a bit of a fiery debate actually on GB News where they do have like a conservative woman who of course shares the same values as myself and a lot of other Britons that are outraged by this decision, but then of course you have someone on the other side of the debate that quite frankly is a disgrace. I don't know why she's getting any airtime, but she said that the UK is no longer a Christian country. She also stated that we're now moving with the times to seeing our traditions and values taken away from our country and our schools. And they basically stated that we should be celebrating everybody's religions and not just Christianity. Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers. Let's get into it. Let's react to this, guys. But as always, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And yeah, without any further ado, let's have a watch.
What do you think about this? Is it really inclusive to cancel Easter?
No, of course it isn't. I think it's fundamentally wrong and the headmistress should be ashamed of herself. To say that you're cancelling Easter out of respect for diversity or out of respect for a diversity of religious faiths is absurd. It's using diversity as an excuse to target and erase the majority culture of this who are practicing Christians. It's the history of this country. People seem to want to pretend that this country has no background, that we didn't arrive at where we are with all of our values of tolerance and so on without a religious background. We are a Christian country to our bones, and whether you're a practicing Christian or a cultural Christian, regardless of whether or not you believe, many people around the country, British people, celebrate Easter. It's part of our calendar, and it's an absolute abomination to use this as an excuse to erase the culture, the religious traditions of this country.
All right, Fahima, I'll bring you.
Now, that's a lady with a lot of common sense. She's just speaking the truth and probably speaking everything that we all agree with. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I agree with absolutely everything she said. The problem is now coming with her. Have a listen.
Now, same question to you. Do you think it's really inclusive and diverse to cancel an Easter bonnet parade?
Well, I think we need to consider that the UK is not legally a Christian country, and it is also an uncodified constitution. And we are moving with the times with everything else. So I guess it's the similar way with this state school. It is not a religious school, so it can change its policies however it chooses in order to be fair, because it's not actually cancelling and banning Easter or Christianity. It's just saying that a religious service, a worship, a prayer is not going to be held. There might actually be even other sort of, religious education and studies where schools will show all religious faiths, and that's how they will learn about it. But it doesn't have to be exclusive to one faith, which is diminishing, and it's not about bringing up minority groups to have them exclusive. It's more about the demographic that has changed in the UK, where majority of people are agnostic or atheists, and it doesn't reflect the society that we're living in right now. And that's what they mean about being inclusive, about people who do not believe in any.
Absolute nonsense. I mean, she's spoken so much nonsense just in that sort of, that spiel that she came out with there, saying that the UK is not a Christian country. Well, it's based on, it's built on traditional Christian values, and whatever. You can say a lot, people may be atheists or people, whatever. It's still a Christian country, and, you know, if you look at the royal family, I don't know what King Charles is up to these days, but of course, it is a Christian nation from the, the king is the head of the church. So it is a Christian nation. That is completely true, regardless if there are some atheist people cutting about now, and as I said, more religions that are coming into the country. It doesn't take away our roots. And as I said, we've been doing these at schools for many, many years. And, you know, it's called the Easter holidays. We take time off to celebrate. Majority of people do celebrate this sort of stuff. And then it's saying moving with the times. What does that mean? Moving with the times. So it means just getting rid of our Christian traditional values and moving with the times. Moving with what times? Moving to Islam? Moving to other religions? What was moving with the times? Now, the thing is with Christianity, it's the most disrespected religion in all of the world. The things that you can say about Christianity, it is damn right to disgrace. You can say so much about Christianity, it gets put into the ground so much, but if you said the exact same things about Islam, you would know all about it, and it just wouldn't be put up in today's society, which is a huge, huge problem. And saying, you know, inclusivity and learning about other people's religions. No, why can't the people learn about the religion that is built on the traditional values of this country? Why can't that be the case, and why no longer that can be the case? And talking about not talking about Easter and being able to celebrate Easter, I have heard so much about Ramadan this week, this last two weeks, in the United Kingdom, everywhere. I look at my football club, Glasgow Rangers, freaking doing iframs. I'm hearing it everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Prime Minister, all of these kings, King Charles, all of these kind of things. I'm hearing it constantly shoved down my throat. And quite frankly, I don't care too much about religion. I've always said that. You know, I'm a believing God, but I'm not subscribed to a story. But my whole thing is that I want to hear about Lent. I want to hear about Easter. I want to hear about all of these things within the United Kingdom. Why am I getting Ramadan shoved down my throat? You know, you can even talk about Chinese New Year, talking about other things. You know, Hanukkah, all of these other things. Why are we burying Christian values and Christian roots and being able to celebrate and pushing the other sort of agendas down other people's throats? Let's have a listen to the counter argument.
Thing at all.
Emma, I can see you shaking your head furiously there.
Yeah, well, respectfully, that's historically and factually untrue. We have an established church in this country. We are legally, factually, constitutionally a Christian country. The monarch is the head of the Church of England, whether he acts like it or not. The fact is that even if you say we have an unwritten constitution, I mean, you're comparing us with countries like the United States or America. They have their own distinctive history, whereas we had the common law. We still have the common law. We have a constitutional history in this country that doesn't require some kind of codified written constitution for it to be real. And frankly, the idea that this isn't the targeting of Christianity specifically, I mean, GB News' own Ben Leo had a look on their website. It was very clear that they've been having assemblies on every other religion, including Chinese New Year. So they are obviously very interested in celebrating other cultures, other faiths. It's just Christianity that they have a problem with. And that's something that we have seen in other institutions as well. It's not just this primary school. It's a general trend in this country. And I repeat, it is factually and historically untrue to say that we are not a Christian country. We are.
Fahima, do you think that there is a chance
Speaks complete sense. Speaks complete sense.
here that Muslim parents just didn't want their children to take part in anything Easter/Christian related?
I don't think so at all. If anything, Muslims do actually respect the revered Jesus Christ. In fact, we don't even just call him Jesus Christ. After that, we say peace and blessings upon Jesus Christ. So it's not about that. This has become commercialized, and most people that are upset is not because they're trying to appease the Muslims. We actually don't mind other faiths or our own. It's just that if it's going to be of one particular faith, which is not the predominant or the majority in today's society, then in fact the UK will have to.
You can just see the presenter just doesn't agree with whatever she's saying. He's just like, what the F is she going on about? Literally.
Have all faiths have their worship in there, and I'm one of those Muslims that would like to pray and practice privately. We don't have to do it outside, even if other people do. I call up my own community.
Just for the sake of clarity, Fahima, I'll stick with you on this. You know, like the Easter bonnet parade and thing, you know, that's not like a religious thing, right? That is... might be called the Easter bonnet parade. It's just like a thing that kids do, where like they put different hats on, they do different things. So it's a bit like an Easter egg kind. It's just quite a nice thing for kids to do, really. And like when I was doing it at school and we did things like that, it was more of just like a nice community thing. So it's not really all about religion. I just wonder if there's been a bit of a misunderstanding here. I mean, the school clearly was worried about causing offence, presumably to people who weren't Christian, Fahima.
Probably they were, because again, it just distinctified that it was actually a service that it cancelled, more importantly, the actual prayer, the worship, which won't include majority of people that are not Christian and, like I said, who are actually atheists. It's not political correctness to actually say that they are actually not having a worship or a prayer.
Okay.
It's just to say that it's just fair for everyone that does not actually believe in the same thing.
Emma, do you want to come back to a few things there then?
Yes, I do. That this, this is out, like you mentioned, people celebrate, Easter bonnet parades. I have very fond memories of that myself. This isn't just about Christianity. This is our culture in this country. And if we actually want to have a tolerant society, then schools should be teaching minority cultures that they also need to respect Christianity and the traditions of this country.
Well, no one actually said that the minorities are the one complaining. It was an actual person. It's just propaganda to say that. In fact, a lot of Muslims don't have a problem with that. It's not a Muslim thing either. So don't make it that. Don't make it like it is that. It's probably about the atheists who have absolutely no faith, no religion, which is the majority represented in this country.
And they should be tolerant to the culture of this country, which is Christian.
They can be tolerant, but they don't have to have a prayer. It's about
Being
teaching in
tolerant is
religious
not
education.
racing.
It's not a religious school. It's an actual
But
state
it's
public
cancelling it
school for
everyone else,
everyone.
isn't it? This is about it. I find slightly odd. I mean,
It's just one school. Maybe it's just carrying forward with the demographic that is in that area, particularly. Maybe it's not like that everywhere else, and that's how it probably is for that. And that's what I meant, that legally there is not one sort of religion where everyone has to follow, and it's not a uncodified constitution.
I take all your points on board. Absolutely. I think, unfortunately, not for you necessarily, but just unfortunately in general, the school has decided to hide behind the banner of inclusivity and diversity in order to make this decision. Now, they might regret doing that, but they came out and said this is why. Maybe if they'd have been honest and said, actually, we don't have a single Christian at this school, it doesn't make sense for us to do it. I mean, I would still argue maybe they should do something, but they didn't say that.
And people are just assuming the worst, that it's Muslims that are actually against it when it's not. So let's just make that clear.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's assuming it's Muslims. I think it was just more cultural weakness, I suppose. But anyway, thank you.
Okay, I mean, that was an interesting debate. I mean, the lady on the left there, the blonde girl, of course, she was speaking a lot of sense, and a lot of her points, of course, were factual, and her points were something that I agree with entirely. If you watch my previous videos, I said a lot of the points that she actually spoke about. And to be fair, the news host, he doesn't. He's not buying any of what she said. I mean, it's delusion. They've always got someone coming onto these debates just offering lunatic opinions. And again, it's a service that I said in the last video I did. It's a service, right? The kids, for God's sakes, we used to make things and do stuff for the services. It's just staying on the track of the tradition and values of this country. You just stay it. And as I said time and time before, I had people that didn't necessarily were Christian, or people that weren't or other religions. No one cared. They just did the stuff. They just did the things. So talking about moving with the times and stuff, you don't go to Dubai or UAE and say, let's move with the times, do you? You don't say that, do you? No, you don't. You don't scrap all the other stuff. To be fair, with Christianity, it's just a disrespected religion. It really is. And this country has been built on that. Our whole nation, whether we're in the whole corporate sphere, the government, schools, all of these kind of things, shove all the other stuff down your throat, but don't protect their own tradition and values, which is a massive, massive problem. This school needs to reverse that decision. I've always want to see more schools doing this sorts of stuff. They're not banning Easter just because of inclusivity. They're doing it to replace with Refugee Week, which is shoving another agenda down people's throats, which is absolutely disgraceful in itself. And that head teacher should definitely be investigated, because I bet she has freaking blue hair, rotten teeth, and stinks like piss. But guys, do let me know your thoughts on that debate down in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace.